Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Movin' Right Along, a Muppet Movie podcast brought to you by toughpigs.com. This is the podcast where we watch the Muppet Movie 2 minutes at a time and talk about it a lot. I'm your host, Ryan Rowe.
And I'm your other host, Anthony Strand.
And joining us today is our guest. Tell the folks who you are.
Hello, I'm Eric Adams, the TV editor of the AV Club.
Thank you very much for being with us, Eric.
Well, thanks for having me back.
Yes, glad you could make it back.
I hope I did well enough on my first episode that you guys want me around again.
I think you passed.
All right, thank you.
I agree.
And today we're talking about minutes 25 and 26 of the Muppet Movie, in which Hopper makes his pitch to Kermit once again, this time with a new and improved billboard. And we end these minutes with Kermit and Fozzie parking the Studebaker at a seemingly quiet church. So this billboard, we talked earlier in a previous minute about the billboard that Kermit drove past or rode his bike past earlier, which I questioned some of the graphic design choices. This one is a little bit better. It's still I wouldn't exactly pull over and go to Doc Hopper's if I saw this billboard, but it is a little bit better.
I think Kermit looks pretty handsome. Like, I feel like if I drove past this, I would think that's an appealing commercial pitchman. So I do think that Doc Hopper's instincts, like in wanting Kermit to do his commercials, are right on. The fact that they lovingly painted him so much, like, really amused me.
And I guess actually it just occurred to me too that Max presumably just painted Kermit's face on that billboard right now, only having seen Kermit twice in person. So that is pretty impressive.
He's got a photographic memory.
Apparently.
You know, we do not learn a lot about Max in this movie, so sure, headcanon. He has photographic memory. Why not?
Yes, make sure you add that to the fan-in wiki or whatever that's called. That wiki where people just make stuff up.
Yeah, is that the thing that has like 235 seasons of Frasier spinoffs?
I'm sure it does. I don't know specifically if that's there, but that sounds like something that would be there.
Anyways, sorry to get off track. Let's talk about the movie.
Yeah, so this clip too is where we have Kermit says all he can think of is millions of frogs on tiny crutches, which once again we see Max sort of like waffling on his loyalty to Doc Hopper when he gets the image of the millions of frogs on crutches.
And it's a horrifying image. This is an image that has haunted me my entire life. When I think of frogs' legs, I think about them being taken from live frogs because of the Muppet Movie.
Oh yeah, me too. Total. Like, I'm a pretty adventurous eater, and I have never had any interest in trying frog legs because of this movie.
When you hear that line, though, do you picture real frogs or do you picture Muppet frogs missing their legs?
I picture Muppet frogs.
That's a little less disturbing, I guess.
I guess I picture Robin and like the Frog Scouts.
Oh no, they're just kids.
They're just little. It's like lamb or okay. All right, too much.
But speaking of frogs, though, Hopper has the line where he says, "We're a small-time operation, but we're expanding, just like you frogs expand." And then he puffs out his cheeks. Kermit says that's a myth, which, of course, the only reason that's really there is so we can get another great appearance in the running gag with Carol Kane as her character from the El Sleazo. But the thing about that...
Well, perfect joke.
Yeah, it is. It's a great running gag, a great callback. But the thing is, that's not a myth because frogs do puff their cheeks and their necks out. So it's a great joke, but it's not biologically accurate.
I've never thought about it. You're right. I will say that this is I like this better of the two instances of that gag in this movie. Like, when I think of that joke, I think of Doc Hopper saying, "We're a small-time operation, but we're expanding." I don't think of Telly Savalas saying you'll get warts. And I'm not sure why. Well, actually, I think I do know why that is, which is there's something about Charles Durning's delivery of that whole speech. We're a small time operation, but we're expanding, because it's just such a long string of statements, and he just kind of keeps going. And there's something about it that feels like Groucho Marx talking to Margaret Dumont. Am I crazy?
Huh. Well, I can honestly say I've never thought about it that way, but that's certainly an interesting take.
And there's a lot less going on in this scene as well. You know, like back at the El Slizo, there's just so much chaos going on in the background, and the lines are coming so quickly that like you could really miss the first myth, and it's not until this part, which is a little quieter, which is a little more of an intimate scene between four characters, that joke really, really lands.
Yeah, and of course you expect to see a nicely dressed lady in a restaurant, but you don't expect to see a nicely dressed lady swinging out from behind a billboard in the middle of the desert. So I think it's more effective this time.
This is the type of gag that set me up for a lifetime of expecting, you know, just various life experiences where people pop out from behind billboards.
And how many times has it happened?
It's never happened. You know, I've never been driving down a road and a police motorcycle happens to be hiding behind a billboard. A carnivorous coyote in search of a Roadrunner dinner has never hopped out in front of me. I don't know. That's one of those, I feel like, kind of lost pop culture traditions that I came to know through like Looney Tunes and through old movies and through the Muppet Movie that like have just sort of now become jokes in and of themselves. I don't know where I'm going with this, but
but like things like, well, it's one of those things where just there's a lot of stuff like that where as a kid you're just kind of conditioned through pop culture to expect it to be, it's a common point of reference, so it must be a common occurrence. And then you grow up and it's not a common occurrence.
Reality
I
is
think
so
back
disappointing.
I think back to the John Mulaney stand-up bit about
quicksand. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, and that's this is very, very much applies to the same. This very much applies to that as well. I will say about Doc Hopper, first of all, there's just something about his just glee at the sign and at showing Kermit the sign very endearing.
Yeah, he has the line, "Isn't that splendid? Just splendid."
Yeah, that, and even before that, he comes out and goes, "Ha ha ha ha! You got the picture, boy!" Like he's so excited. Like this is, I feel like this is the happiest we ever see him in the entire movie. Is this sequence where he's like, this is the moment where he thinks his beautiful billboard is going to convince Kermit the Frog to become his commercial pitch.
He thinks he has it all figured out.
Yeah.
I think that glee and that ignorance of him thinking that this is going to be the thing that converts Kermit, like, is what manages to help Durning hang on to the sinisterness of Doc Hopper in this moment of happiness and joyfulness that he's expressing. It's this like gross carnival barter deal that he puts on for a few seconds. It's just so funny, and he just lives in this disgusting Colonel Sanders caricature. It's so funny.
Yeah. Well, and another thing that I really love is right after he does the whole, after Carol Kane pops out, Kermit and Fozzie both turn and look at Carol Kane, and then Kermit turns back to Doc Hopper, and it looks like he's just about to say something, and then he just kind of goes, "Come on, Bear, burn rubber," right? Like, I love that moment where Kermit is just about to engage him again, and like, you can see him decide it's not worth it. We got to get out of here.
It also gives the audience a moment to laugh.
I'm scrubbing back and forth on the clip right now, and that take is so good. It's just long enough. And like Ryan just said, I think part of it is to give the audience a moment to laugh. But it's such a great use of silence in that moment.
Yeah.
Do you think people ever ask Carol Kane to say "yeth" when they come across her in public?
I feel like they must. I feel like she probably gets yes, not as much as "I'm not a witch, I'm your wife," but maybe like second after that.
Right.
From The Princess Bride. Although, I don't know. I guess now she probably gets recognized for Kimmy Schmidt. I don't know. But I feel like the Muppet Movie must... I mean...
It's in her
just,
top 5, definitely.
But yeah, going back to what you said about the silence in that moment. Recently, when Matt Vogel has taken over as Kermit, I would read a lot of things on... certainly, I read a lot of comments online of people saying, like, Steve Whitmire's Kermit was always so animated. Jim Henson's wasn't really. And this is a perfect example of that. Where Kermit just totally underplays this moment. Right? And it's such a... I feel like when people say, like now with Matt Vogel, that he's emulating Jim's Kermit by being more low-key, this is the kind of thing they're talking about.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now.
And
he holds the same expression for that entire take.
Yeah, and Jim Henson was such a master. Like, we talk a lot about him as a creative genius, but just as a performer, he was so great at knowing how to react, when to do something new, when to let a moment be still. Puppeteers, he might be the most... I mean, I guess zen is the word, right? But
yeah, it's acting, it's puppeteering, it's all of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, Doc Hopper's pitch to Kermit does not work. Kermit and Fozzie drive away. There's another brief moment in the development of Max. He, having taken a step forward, he refuses to drive Hopper to follow the car, but then Hopper says, "I'll double your percentage," and Max opens the door for him and gets in the car. So he takes one step forward and then another step back.
Well, which is a solid gag, but I always felt like I kind of wish Max's big change of heart had just come later and stuck. Because this joke makes him seem greedy, right? And kind of wishy-washy.
Well, we did have that moment earlier where he asked about getting a reward. So apparently money was his original motivation for
That's
spotting
true.
Kermit.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
And I will say also that I love the specific word choice of Max saying you're asking him to do something terrible. Eric mentioned earlier, the image of millions of frogs on tiny crutches really is horrifying, right? Like, I like that Max uses a word as strong as terrible.
And he's not even a frog.
It shows like how much this is hitting him. He's not even a frog. He just has sympathy. He's just a sympathetic human being.
He's the conscience of the organization, and he's the symbol of innocence in this little duo here. I think that the wardrobe choice of
the hat
him in that goofy green vinyl hat versus Durning in the straw hat, like that just shows so much about who these people are and where they're coming from and personality they have.
Yeah, were vinyl hats a thing in the 70s? I can't say I've seen a lot of hats like this.
I don't know, but it does, like, it is such of that era, even if it wasn't. Like, I look at that hat and how long the brim is over Max Pendleton's Austin Pendleton's long wavy hair and those wire rimmed glasses, and that just looks like the 70s to me.
Yeah, that is well. And one thing we should point out is I don't think we mentioned, because she's not listed in the opening credits, but the costume designer for the humans in the Muppet Movie was Gwen Capitanos, who we should credit with those choices, I think, in collaboration with Jane.
Don't think we mentioned her yet.
No, right, because I believe she's just listed in the closing credits. So we just went through the names that popped up on the screen at the beginning. But so a tip of the green vinyl hat to you, Gwen Capitanos.
Indeed. Yeah, so the rest of this clip is pretty much just Fozzie and Kermit. They drive some more. They're looking at the map. They almost crash into the church, which is a really impressive shot if you think about the fact that it's puppeteers in the front and a guy crammed in the back seat actually doing the driving, and they manage to pull that off where he almost hits the church and swerves, but and then then they park at the church.
Right, and of course, outside the church, we see a sign that says, "Lost? Have you tried Reverend Hare Krishna?"
And that's number 3 for this running gag, right?
That's number 3, and I believe last, right? That's it. That's the last one.
I think so. Do you think the actual Hare Krishnas thought that was funny?
You know, I feel like they're not a monolith, so it probably varied. But I would think some do. I mean, I feel like it's not insulting. I feel like characters in a movie repeatedly saying, "Have you tried Hare Krishna?" Slam on them.
No, not at all. It's just a joke. So, yeah, I'd like to think they appreciated it.
It's certainly less insulting than any of the Hare Krishna jokes in Airplane.
Right.
Yes, I would say so.
Or in another episode, the Hare Krishna joke in Stripes, right? Where Bill Murray and Harold Ramis make fun of John Candy for getting his head shaved.
Oh, right.
He dance around singing Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So one other thing I had from the June 12th, 1978 draft of the script, which we have been referring to occasionally, there was another little scene after the billboard encounter where Kermit and Fozzie sang another verse of Movin' Right Along, and then they rehearse a joke for their act, which is, "What did the porcupine say to the platypus?" And Kermit says, "I don't know. What did the porcupine say to the platypus?" Fozzie says, "Somebody's following us." And Kermit says, "That's not funny." And Fozzie says, "Right, it's Hopper." Which is kind of like the motorcycle cop joke later.
Right, but much better later.
Yeah, exactly. So,
if nothing else, because of the use of the term "sweet nothing," right? But
yeah,
we can talk about that later.
Yeah, and then it was going to cut to a shot of Hopper's car driving, and it was going to, so it says "meanwhile" on the screen, and as Hopper's car gets closer, the car actually crashes into the words "meanwhile" that are on the screen and drives into a ditch.
Oh, that's pretty good.
That would have been funny. I guess it's okay that they cut this one. There aren't very many of these cut moments from the script that seem like big losses, but it would have been fun.
Yeah, would have been expensive.
Yeah, that might be why they cut it.
Right, they would have had to build the words "meanwhile," right?
Look, it was either that or the giant pie. There wasn't room in the budget for both of them.
I think they made the right choice.
Here's the thing: you, me, and Aunt Amy all agree that they made the right choice.
It's unanimous.
So the script says there's another verse of "Movin' Right Along" in there. Is that lost verse in the script?
Not in the excerpts that I have. I don't know if maybe they were just going to split the song up a different way. I don't know how far they got with this version of it.
My guess is that the songs probably weren't finished yet at that point.
That's a good guess, yeah.
Although we do have a little vestige of that in the finished movie, where the instrumental for "Movin' Right Along" does start back up when they drive it.
Yeah, you hear the banjo and everything start up again, so it's sort of revisiting the song.
Right, because they're back on the road. They're moving right along again.
Exactly. All right, anything else for minutes 25 and 26 specifically?
We mentioned, I teased this last episode, but in these minutes we find out where Fozzie learned to drive, which is he took a correspondence course.
Oh, yes. That is a fantastic joke because Fozzie's delivery is so matter-of-fact.
Right. Oh, yeah. It's just, he says it like that's just a way that you learn how to drive. And I was thinking about this. If this movie was from 2017 or 2007 or 1997 or whatever, and Fozzie said he learned to drive online, nearly as funny to me. I feel like that would be the modern version of this joke, right? But to me, there's just something so good about picturing Fozzie mailbox for his biggest driving instructions to come.
Yeah, normally when you sort of explain a joke or expand on it, it doesn't make it better, but I just pictured Fozzie actually, getting his mail with his driving lessons for the first time, and that just made the joke better for me.
Right, exactly. Like it like paints this little story of Fozzie this being so happy that he learned how to drive.
Yes.
Him a Studebaker. He needed to learn.
Yeah, totally. So then, on a more general note, Eric, what is your experience with this movie? Do you remember the first time you saw it? How do you rank it among the Muppet movies?
Gosh, that's hard to say. When the first time I saw it, I had to have been very very young on VHS on the CBS Fox version. I can remember being terrified by the TriStar Pegasus.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that this is a common internet story at this point, but vanity cards, all sorts of production company logos, for whatever reason, they're horrifying. They're
Many
loud,
of them are.
they are jarring, and that one really spooked me.
The one that got me was the FHE logo, Family Home Entertainment, where it would spell out the letters FHE with this like sort of loud droning sound effect.
I don't know if I know that one.
Oh yeah, you should seek it out. Yeah, that one. I don't know if it scared me so much as just unnerved me.
But yeah, so it was a family favorite, and I've continued to revisit it as I've grown older. I feel like I've grown a greater appreciation for it as time has gone on, because I was always much more a fan of the TV show. I didn't really revisit the movies all that much when I was a kid, but this one and The Great Muppet Caper, which I think is. I personally think The Great Muppet Caper is number one in terms of the first three movies.
I agree
but
with
this
that.
one is so good. It's so solid. It's such a great articulation of one thing that the Muppets do really good, which is just these sort of wall to wall jokes and gags and doing anything that could possibly seem funny. Marx Brothers in that Mel Brooks kind of tradition. And it had been a long time since I'd seen it, and I was in like my early 20s. I was living in Austin, Texas, and they were showing it at the Alamo Drafthouse, and I just kind of on a whim went with a friend to see that screening, and I was kind of blown away at how funny it still was.
Yeah, that's cool.
So, I love that story.
Yeah, at the Drafthouse. So did they give away? Was it like a special screening? Did they give away any kind of props or anything?
No, it was just sort of like it was a matinee. They tend to do during the summer times when school's out. They'll do like all ages during the days. I think this was like a Memorial Day weekend or something. So we had the Monday off. And we just going in the Muppet Movie, and I think I've gone back to it 3 or 4 times since. I'm sitting here in my home office, and I'm my Blu-ray and DVD shelf, and I'm seeing my Muppet Movie Blu-ray staring right back at me.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I love that. So, all right, any other final thoughts from either of you?
I am looking forward to finding out what happens at this church.
Yeah, what do you think's going on in that church? We'll have to wait until next week to find out. And so we do hope that everyone joins us next week. And in the meantime, you can check out toughpigs.com. We have a website. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, various other things. Our theme music is by Stacey Rosen. Our logo is by Morgan Davey. You can find me on Twitter at @MeRyanRowe. You can find Anthony on Twitter at ZeppoMarxist. We've mentioned the Marx Brothers a couple times in this episode, I think, and now there's another reference for you. At ZeppoMarxist.
It's the rule of threes.
Yes,
There you
perfect.
go.
And Eric, where can everyone find you on the internet?
You can find me at the AV Club. That's avclub.com. And on Twitter, you can follow me at Eric M. Adams.
Very good. And we do hope that everyone, if you're so inclined, give us a positive review, 5 stars on iTunes. If you're not inclined, just forget about it. But tell all your friends about the show, everyone who has any inkling of an interest in Muppets. And join us again next week for another episode of Movin' Right Along.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.